analysis. Here we are going to learn about how forensics, especially digital forensics, how we are doing and how we are using this process for incident analysis also. Here is a case. The case study is like this. Some incident happened, you have to do it. What are happened things? We have to find it. This is the way we have to search in a timeline fashion, constructing of events in a forensically way. This is the incident happened. Now what to do? What happened? How to protect future of the organization if such thing happens? These need to be answered. This has to be a systematic procedure. You have to find a ways. The digital forensics provide us the systematic way to identify and mitigate the issues for future causes also and ready for any future events happening. So this is the way you have to use a systematic approach to find and analyze the incidents and dig the incidents, what exactly happened and patch them, vulnerabilities any, and you have to be ready, future ready also. Okay. Before going to forensics, we try to identify what is exactly incident is. Incident is adverse event. What is event is? Event is anything what is observable in occurrence in the system. It may be a crashing of system, it may be slowing of system, it may be any event. What is happening on software based, any event log you are using, that will give you details. If you are not maintaining log, you may not observe it. If it is normal event, it is fine. If it is damaging your system or your organizational businesses are leaking anything, then it causes an incident. So it is defined as computer security incident is a violation of imminent threat of violation of computer security policies, acceptable use policies or standard security practices. Here it is trying to define your organizational framework and your strategies, best practices. You have to practice in a way to identify if any changes in the issues of the systems. Consider you have a framework which is not allowing in entering a system inside of your organization without antivirus in the system. If you are using antivirus, it is fine. If you are not using antivirus, then it is a security violation. It is also a matter. The network team will identify something is happening in the network. So these are called adverse events. And one of the thing is, if you are using a websites and all other things, you may well versed with the defacing of website, data leakages in the websites. These are called adverse events. This is actual incidents. So how to tackle them? So there are certain types of adverse events. It's already mentioned in certain guidelines. NIC CERT also, he clearly mentioned fake apps installations and all these causes issues to the end user BOID programs. Here we are tackling the same ways, but you have to be ready with your framework to tackle these incidents also. Here the list of incidents majorly happening are like website defacement, denial of service attacks. Denial of service attacks, how you say that it is a adverse event. Consider you have to tender a document or anyone, somebody tenders are coming. If you are stopping it, what will happen? Then this is a availability issue. Still, it is causes a business interruptions. Unauthorized access or modifying data. It is a prominent issues in security loopholes in websites and other locations. Organizational policy violations. If you are using legal authorities, you may very well versed of a violation in any organizational policies, IT acts, implementations in the organizations. This is identified. And social engineering attacks, he explained in previous sessions also, phishing, spamming, and spoofing methodologies, how attackers are leveraging these type of attacks to extract the information without touching the servers. They are extracting your information by using luring techniques in the methods like sending a mail telling that you are very interested in this and you give this information, we will provide you this type of information for your usage. Like that, they lure and get the informations. Advanced persistent threats. These are very sophisticated attacks targeting organizations and all others. Ransomware infections. Ransomware infections causes if anyone attacks your network or you are clicking any phishing mails and which causes installing ransomwares on your systems and stops functioning at all and encrypting your documents and all others, asking for ransom to decrypt back. And malwares, viruses, trojans. These are very old techniques for performing exfiltration and espionage attacks. Data exfiltrations. Data exfiltrations mainly occurs if you are targeting any websites. Hacking and intrusions. In hacking and intrusions, it's like a website defacement. In this hacking, if the attacker is so much well sophisticated, he don't display any content to the user he is attacking. Only network traffic he uses and hide their presence so that they become a persistent and attack whenever they want. So here, what is our main goal? You want to do forensics or incidents? We have to decide also. In incident response, the main thing here is you are in real time. You find the activity and you have to reduce your activity techniques and malicious activities should be stopped within a certain period of time so that the organization can bear limited resources. Limited resources can be used so that the organization don't lose financial losses. In forensics, the incident is already happened and we are performing what happened exactly and in a timeline fashion so that it will be reconstructed and can be presented in legal. That means court of law and where you want to publish. And here time. In incident response, you have very little time window. Consider if a defacement of a website happened, what you have to do? You have to stop the defacement or to further attack other network. So stop that server or use that server later from the network or quarantine the server and extract the information or display only business continuity plan operations. Display only those servers back for continuity of productions. But in forensically, you have to take all those servers, whatever attacked, and you have to analyze them, identify them, what exactly happened. Is there any malware still exists? Are there any attacks on the other networks? These things will be identified and it will take large amount of time. But both techniques are used to uh, identify and analyze the data, patch the issues for future users. Okay. How incidents will be identified also is a question. If you don't know incident happened, how you will perform incident is going to happen or analysis will be performed. There are certain websites if in terms of websites, attackers try to publish their data or try to publish the websites. These are hackable or hacked like that. This is a open intel or someone has to report it to the user that can be utilized to perform the activities of incident process or forensic analysis of the exact incident happened location. So you should have a mechanism to identify incident and respond also. Here is the incident methodology that need to be implemented. As I told earlier, every organization should have a framework to cope up with the situations of future incidents happening. You have to prepare a framework as well as what are the techniques, tools utilized for identifying and responding to the incidents happening. In the preparation stage, you should have a resource in terms of all types of resource, network resources, login resources, even a manpower also should be prepared for this. If there is no expertise, there is no way to identify issues. Even we have a tool, it may give certain level of information, but the expert resource should be there to identify the resource is attack is happening, and you are performing it identification, analysis, and all these portions. In detection and analysis, what you do in detection, you are gathering all types of events, logs, and any other activities like antivirus logs, HIPS logs, Windows event logs. Analyze them for further processing of information and extracting of event what happened exactly. Containment, eradication, and recovery. In containment phase, you are stopping. If there is an incident happen, this is has to be stopped. You have to stop that location and seize that location. Seize means you are trying to stop it in the network and use it. Eradication. You have to find what are the malwares identification need to be done, and is there any tampering of data? Is there any of level of incident propagation of incident? You have to identify and stop it. In recovery, you have to roll back all your issues and then make sure the system is patched and production ready, or you have to use it for as a normal usage. In post incident activity, after the incident happened, you are preparing a report. In this report, you will try to find what are the incidents happen, and those need to be reported properly. After that, what information according to the organization need to be shared to external agencies or stakeholders, that also need to be decided, because this type of incidents may be happening in another locations where they can use your information to stop those attacks. This is a well coordinated stoppage that will be fruitful for the any organization. So this is the process of incident handling methodology. In practice, if you are an organization and you are working in the organization, if something happened, what you do? Here in practice, you are just reporting by communication medium to the incident management team if you have a team, or third party team, where they can come and take all the responsibilities of incident process. Here you have to assign a well versed with your network and all CISO level persons, give the information and manage one person to give them, so that they can coordinate very well, and then they will identify the issues and analyze the logs. They prepare report what actions need to be implemented, they will well write it, and then give you precautions while implementing containment, eradication, and recovery process. This is the way how the SOC teams works. Signs of incident. Where you find incidents happening, there are multiple locations. You have a security controls and security logs. Consider you have a SIM solution. SIM solution provide you different ways of identifying of logs and correlating of logs, where it can extract information from that to identify there is a issue in the systems or aberrations in the systems. Those systems will be identified and categorized for analysis for the incident analysis teams. Then those will be taken into care what exactly happened, and the implementations for stopping that attack will be done by SOC team further. Here there are multiple examples. Antivirus solutions, HIPS solutions, log analyzers identify and give you attacks happening results on the host machines as well as in the network routers also. Also certain times it misses. Even the antivirus software's log analysis may not identify fully. Here, the end users will report there is an issue in the file names with unusual characters or malicious file uploaded to the servers or malicious files identified in local networks. These type of activities will be reported by people also. The stakeholders also raises queries regarding any issue happening from one another networks. You have to tackle that network details also. So these are the signs of incident reported by multiple persons and local persons as well as security software logs. Apart from that, you have another intelligence groups where the threat groups try to publish the data of attacks and other details in the public platforms where you can get a open intel techniques to gather that information. In there, you will identify the targeted group publishes the content. Like I said, John H. website defacements were published. Incident analysis. Here in this incident analysis case, somebody published the information about a website got defaced. That website is having issues and malicious content is published. After gathering access logs, FTP logs, system event logs, it is found that there is a entry in the access logs stating this content is encrypted content. Actually, it is encrypted content in the log. They used base64 encryptions to bypass certain types of checks in the network. It is found that access log has a SQL injection query in the website. This SQL injection query had a permission to execute on the server itself. It is a very difficult scenario. If you have a permissions with the database, it can do any types of shell operations on the system itself. So it is found properly that all the systems are vulnerable on that system. If you are using any shared hosting that causes so much damage to the servers also and other websites, it has more malware propagation techniques also. It can damage further to entire networks. Here comes the forensics. In previous slides, I have told only log collected and all others. What about the servers if any hidden files are left over? This is the main thing answered by forensic teams. This is in forensics, every piece of information will be verified, validated, and identified for any security incidents. So going to forensics, what is computer forensics definition? The forensic definition adds legal and that is submittable in court of law. This is a main concern in forensics. The definition is the discipline that combines elements of law and computer science to collect and analyze data from computer systems, networks, wireless communications, and storage devices in a way that is admissible in a court of law. Here it is clearly mentioned the forensics is used mainly for a court of law submissions. Here the goal is you have to identify, collect, preserve, and analyze the data. Also, you have to ensure the collected evidence should be integrity verification has to be done at any time of time. It should not be disturbed to ensure it can be submitted in court of law. The goal is you have to submit at the end in a court of law. For a court of law, the integrity should not be disturbed at any phase. It is called chain of custody. The overview of the process is like this. You have to find the incident, what is happened, and what you have to do. You have to assess and validate the incident before performing forensics. If you don't know incident what is happening and you are unable to assess it, if you send a team, they may waste the time. You have to ensure that the identified issue is properly validated, and you have to assess it is a incident happened. After that, you have to do season acquisition plan. Under Caesar, you have to gather all the electronic evidences, identify, pack them properly. If you need to do any live analysis means if any system is on, if you touch that system, you are actually disturbing it. But if the systems are encrypted, you should have a password. For that purpose, live analysis is required. If you are able to identify back the information of password system passwords, then it is well and good. If not, you have to do decryption of the system. So as part of acquisition, you have to ensure that is it required in live analysis or not. In live analysis, you have a major advantage is if any malware is running on the system that is decrypted in RAM, you have to gather RAM volatile memory. This is the main functionalities. After that, gathering entire evidences, you have to analyze. For analysis, what you need? You need different types of tools. The tools and required software upgrades all to be done. After completion of analysis, the entire documentation should be done, including the persons who involved in this and first officers details, everything under chain of custody, where it is located, where it is gathered. This information should be implemented properly. We recommend one template of for organization need to be prepared and need to be submitted. The entire form details need to be noted down. One more methodology is it is a if you don't consider incident methodology implemented for forensic also, you have to prepare. In the preparation phase, you should have a different types of tools, techniques, requirement. You have to ready what can be done in the forensic incident scenario. All the simulations need to be done. If you are going for a scenario where cell phone got hacked, how you will analyze cell phone? Those type of tools required for analysis of cell phone. If you have a Mac OS, what tools are required? Those tools you need to be notified. If you have a Windows laptop, Windows phone, these type of things, you have to ensure that you to gather and access extra, you should be able to extract that information. Those tools are available in market also. And then how to respond to this? Season acquisition is the same process where you gather the information and extract the information from that. After that, analysis and reporting. Here, one more process is archiving. In legal, the case can be opened at any time. If they want to maintain preserving of entire evidence, you have to ensure that entire gathered information and close information till that time. All the documents, all the evidences should be stored in a perfect condition so that it will be preserved for future usage. Here certain terms are there. Chain of custody. In chain of custody, you are gathering information and all others. You have to maintain document and it should be under one well protection, where you will say that the evidence is in preservation and integrity is ensured by the person. And documentations, all levels of documentation should be implemented. Proper investigation authority, all the law of country or organization need to be enforced properly while implementing forensic also. Phases, the same phases what we analyzed, it is done. Here the phases, each phase what we have to do is, in preparation phase we have to implement reconnaissance, equipment procurement and configuration legal. Here the legal framework is meant for countries and as well as organizations. Response, how you have to respond to the incidents and what happened exactly, you have to ensure it in response phase also. acquiring and verifying. In acquiring and verifying, if you are doing a disk imaging, you have to use certain tools such that you are not disturbing the hard disk so that it becomes a proper evidence. If you disturb the hard disk, it becomes not validation and that won't be permissible in court of laws. You should have a proper tools to analyze all the gathered information. Here I have to tell you about the investigation principles in chain of custody I have told earlier. Evidence containers. In evidence containers, you should have a proper evidences. Here consider one scenario, you have a phone where phones are in the incident scenario. The phones can be operated remotely also. You have a smartphone. Smartphones have a good network feature, very good fast speed networks, and you have 4G, 5G also in place. If in incident, the attacker may erase the entire content remotely also. So you have to ensure the network disturbances should not be there, and you have to store it in a containers or any bags where the data is not coming and not going, no network, and you have to gather all the messages before it is going to switch off. If you have a password, that also need to be collected. As I told earlier, improperly preserved evidence may not be permissible in court of law. The preparation phase states that you have to be well equipped to counter any attack scenarios or any forensic locations. You should have a equipment for hardware, software, tool buildings, internet connectivity. Why we need internet connectivity is in ideal scenario, your equipment will be suffice, but the latest cloud technologies use so much storage equipment requirement. To counter those, you should have an internet connectivity where the internet data will be pushed to other cloud locations of yours. Analysis environment. You should have a proper analysis environment like lab and all this so that it will be properly equipped to analyze any type of equipments. If not, you have to be ready to procure those details also. Physical storage. You should have a cloud storage or physical storage for future purposes. Workspace classification issues. It is always an issue in workspace. You have to divide this workspace for forensic analysis separately for privacy and all other issues. Maintenance. Personals are equipment and personals should be required. Expertise group are also required. As part of our toolkits, we also need certain types of forensic analysis toolkits and ensuring image analysis toolkits required. Here are the list of toolkits where we need different types of commercial as well as freeware softwares available. Commercial softwares are provide multiple features where you can easily check all the types of incidents, and they have certain logics to identify if any image is removed from the hard disk, they can able to retrieve it if it is possible. These type of tools and features available inbuilt. They are the multiple commercial tools. CyberCheck Suite from CDAC only. Ncase is another popular tool. FTK Imager also there. This has a tool for analysis also. Helix is a freeware. Celebrate, which is used for mobile forensic tools. Oxygen forensic suite also for mobiles. Autopsy, which is used mainly for Linux-based systems, and Nopix, ProDiscover Forensics. These are the list of tools in popular currently. Apart from software tools, you need hardware items as well as stationary requirements. If you are marking any label, it should not be tampered for a long time at least. To support that, you need a permanent marker also. If logbook requirements, how you will gather from the victim or any person. You should have a logbook for noting out all these items. The LAN cable is also required. And here are the anti-static covers. Earlier I told about a phone. The phone is trying to connect to the cell tower. In that scenario, the attacker may able to erase the entire data. To counter this, you need anti-static covers as well as um, safe covers where you are not allowed to enter the any network signals, so it will be stopped. Also, you need a charger. You should have a multi-purpose charger also. If the charger is there, you can charge it. It won't be get down. The phone won't be switched off for a long time at least until the entire analysis performed on that. There are two types of digital evidences, volatile and non-volatile. In volatile memory, what happens is the entire data will be erased when you switch off your system. In non-volatile like hard disk, even you switch off your phone or system, it won't off. Here, the RAM is when a RAM is a main part in volatile. What happens in the RAM is if a malware is there, it is decrypted and executed. So entire contents are in plain text. Whatever the data available in the RAM is very crucial for any forensics live analysis. In non-volatile, the hard disk. The hard disks are used mostly storage of data and identifying any images, all this data gathering. So here volatile memories and non-volatile. In volatile memory, the RAM data need to be collected. It may be further used like malware identification or any keys identification. In ransomware keys identification, RAMs play major role to find the keys from the RAM so that it will be decrypted entire contents. In non-volatile memory, the hardest content is considered. Here are the classifications. In volatile memory, whenever you switch off or reboot the system, it will go off. In physical memory or volatile, non-volatile memory, all the systems are considered like CDs, DVDs, USB drives, you are writing it. In volatile memory, processes, connections, credentials, clear text passwords, decrypted file system containers. The decrypted file system containers is a mainly like ransomwares and malwares are identifiable. Here recently there is a malware types in which are executing in PowerShell, which are mainly fileless malwares. How you are ready before going to the crime scene. There are multiple types of operating systems available and used by end users. Operating systems like Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 8, even Windows XP is identified, and Chromium books, Mac OS, Apple phone devices. Apart from this, there are dolls. Dolls have also have a capacity to connect to Wi-Fi and execute the activities. Cameras are main attack source nowadays because they are configured very poorly. You have to gather camera and the resource end users also. You have to gather this information and note down, and these details are very much required before performing any forensic investigations. You have to be equipped with required tools and latest technologies as well as old technologies. Write blockers. This concept is mainly in disk forensics, where in disk forensics you are copying data from one hard disk to another hard disk. In one hard disk to another hard disk, if you touch it directly, the certain bits are changing in the hard disk. To stop that scenario, the write blockers came into existence. What does write blockers is? Prevents data from beta to the suspected original hard disk to other popular data storage medium. From one data to one hard disk to another hard disk, or one hard disk to another location, when you are copying it, it stops anything, sir. David Singh, sir. It stops one hard disk to another media or any storage. It stops any bit transfer. Only what are on the hard disk, those will be copied. Ensures the integrity of the suspected original hard disk and other popular data storage media. It only copies the required data, only copies the hard disk to hard disk, but it is not disturbing any other part on the original hard disk. So it is integrity is maintained well. There are two types of software write blockers and hardware write blockers. We recommend hardware write blockers. In most of the scenarios, hardware write blockers are very easily identified and available. Software write blockers we have to ensure properly. In hardware write blockers, there are different types of mechanism hard disk to hard disk copying. It works very fast. This is an example of write blocker where this W device is used as a write blocker to copy this hard disk. In a preparation phase, as I told earlier, all policies framework should be ready as per respective to court of law also. Legal also should be properly implemented. While performing analysis, you should not disturb the original evidence. It may damages, then it causes issues. So always copy the entire hard disk, original hard disk, or clone the entire hard disk to another, perform analysis on the clone. It is very easy. Even you disturb it, you may clone one more. Slack space. Everyone know about Windows systems file copying, pasting, hopefully. What exactly happens in background? The NTFS or FAT32 systems allocate clusters and blocks for files. If you are copying into a cluster, one cluster and other parts, if you see here, after copying these blocks, there is a space remaining in the cluster. What it does? It is empty and waste. So you are using this space not useful. Exactly. The attacker tries to use this space for storing information. In steganography, the people uses image file and store certain data inside of a different spaces which are empty. Likewise, same way, the attacker uses this space also and store multiple files. If it is KBs, it can be used very well. To identify this space also, you need certain mechanisms of copying in your hard disk. If you copy hard disk normally, it is not visible. So you have to consider there is a slack space in the hard disk. This is called logical copy versus physical copy. In logical copy, only file content is copied. This portion is copied. In physical copy, all the bits and pieces, everything is copied, but it may increases the space usage. Still, you are gathering full evidence. Here is the advantage. Always use clone image for identifying and analysis purpose. Keep the original without any disturbing it integrity. You have to image using these type of three tools: TrueBack by CDAC only, FTK Imager, and you have a built-in software tools of software blockers. All the things are there, like DD command. DD command used to copy a certain portion of the images directly. Okay. In response phase, you have to detect an unauthorized activity. We have to report that activity, validate the incident, assess the damage, what happened, what what is the required things for responding, development strategies. This is a containment, eradication, recovery, and investigations. These are in same incident process comes. Coordinate. You need to coordinate the incident phase because you are dealing with legal also. So here comes legal and a press if required. If may not be required, it's only through legal and human resource management. You have to find, is there any such incident happened in previous, and what are the requirements about the incidents, any published content about the incidents, blogs. You should have a recognized capabilities to identify about the incident. It's recommended to survey the location, store the seized evidence. How you will store the seized evidence. Anti-static bags, PVCs are used. You should have a proper strong room also if required. That will be very difficult part in all the scenarios. It depends on the organization to organization basis. Transfer the computer systems to a secure location. You have to store them also properly. Acquisition parts. What are need to be acquiesced? You need to access systems, network routers, wireless devices, any other electronic equipment, pen drives. Certain times pen drives and dolls have electronics. You should have to gather carefully. If you remove it, it may lose the data. All the gathered evidence should be documented as part of chain of custody, so that they will be documented and accounted for future requirements. How you acquire the image? There are multiple tools to acquire the image. For gathering of processes with a volatility framework, you can gather it. If you have a firewire also, it is easy to gather RAM details. How you will analyze the data? In analysis, you have to use forensic tools. The forensic tools provide you information about, if you consider any phone is there, how you will get the phone, or opening a keys, opening a authentication tokens. The forensic tools have a limited capability to open authentication tools, but analysis they will do fully. They will try to open any messages and analyze themselves. If you have any analytic tools, it will be integrated to them. It will give the entire list of images required for analysis and extraction of cookies from the system or browsers, identifying what are the events happened on the system in histories, and it will be correlated, and it will be done analysis, and it is the expertise of a human resource to identify exact event occurred, and what are the attributions to these electronic devices will be identified. Here in analysis, what are the main Requirements for analysis is you have to analyze logs, fat, and different types of multiple operating systems. Information you have to extract them using tools only. As I told earlier, the browser history, chart logs, emails. These were the main considerations. Mobile phones. These were the main personal devices where the incident resides. Information also provide the about incident. Apart from these, if you have an organizational issue where you can get the logs of SIM solutions. In SIM solution, you have a different types of network flow logs, access logs, event logs, system logs. Is there any spike in the CPU in certain point of time? Those details you can gather. The main thing of analysis is you have to reconstruct the event, when and where the incident happened, in what levels and what ways the incident happened, that need to be reconstructed in a way to represent in a quote. This is the exact goal of any analysis. Here what we are doing is we are taking all the devices in all devices and extract information, analysis done, and is there any malicious thing inside of it, or is there any infections, or is there any proper attack happened particular from particular IP address. And these things were gathered, and after that the mobile phones, what are any malicious or abusive messages sent by the user or anything, or what information can be gathered from the phone. Is the phone used as a any um, malicious person or normal person, that will be assessed. uh, Analyze imaged information. In the imaged information, what are you looking for? You have to ensure that that should be attributed to the crime scene incident or any forensic event occurred. How will you recognize it when you find it? There are multiple TVs of storage data. How you will extract it? The forensic tools, you have to dig everything so that the evidence can be found in the system which is attributed to the crime or anything happened, adverse events. The tools will help more and more, like opening up a hard disk in an image without disturbing it. The tools are helping, and then you are digging it. Are there any files which are deleted? They are providing it. And are there new files you are searching for? It can give you that information also. If you have a subscriptions like Statal and all this, if you give that, malwares will be found very easily. We need to learn anti-forensics also. Why? Because the attackers are smart enough to bypass the forensic techniques. If you only have a technology to identify information what is on the file, attacker encrypting the files and keeping it. How you do? This is anti-forensic technique, stopping opening the file normal ways. You should have a technique to decrypt it and then get the actual information. Diskless PC, RAM only. Attackers try to open with the pen drives, and then they will execute it using the RAM and completes it and remove the pen drives and close. Bootables. How you will find it? They are using smart ways to counter the forensic groups. And then compressed files with passwords. You have to, you should have a equipment. If it is compulsorily required to decrypt the file, you should able to decrypt it. Steganography. Earlier told about the storing of information inside of an image. The image is normally available and you can watch it. But if you use certain software, you can able to decrypt the information and analyze it. It is possible. So you are hiding the information inside of an image. Still, we have other counter mechanisms. The latest technologies of virtualizations giving you so many systems running on one system itself. If you have a good RAM 16 GB, you can run 4 to 5 machines in single PC itself. If you use virtual tools, VirtualBox, Hyper-V, and you have a subsystem mechanism also inside of a Windows PC itself. Windows 10 provides subsystem where you can learn multiple OSs downloading from Microsoft Store and executing it. They have a capacity full-fledged execution of multiple OSs and multiple applications on one single PC. If the attacker uses inside of PC, what happens? You have to dig it, so that to reach that it takes so much time. And encryption techniques, obfuscation techniques. JavaScripts and executables will be obfuscated so that it's very difficult to decrypt back and identify what is the exact functionality of the system. To counter all this, you should have a good technologies to deobfuscate, identify, or you should have a RAM. If it is the process is executed, you can decrypt back the entire data. Reporting. After analysis complete, entire thing is over and you reconstructed the entire event list. After identifying event list, you are finding it the actual incident happened due to this cause. The cause is found and you have to report it. The report, it should be represents to the court of law. It has to be clear and concise, and it should be legal personnel and law enforcement. If required, you have to explain it in a eventful fashion. As here archiving. The archiving is also required. After the completion of the case, you have to archive safely. If anyone stole the information on the PDS, it may also cause issues. So you have to caution the evidence should be kept an integrity fashion so that there is no issue in the system. Here there are challenges also. If you are using old PDS or pen drives, or is it supportive? The latest software should also support you backward compatibilities in forensic groups. Here are the list of terms for your reference. If any queries, please let us know.
If anyone have any question, please write in the chat box.